You have stood in front of a mirror and rehearsed your own confidence. Shoulders back, chin level, the smile you practiced until it looked natural. Then, someone raised an eyebrow at you in a meeting, or didn't laugh at your joke, or looked at you half a second too long, and it cracked. All of it, instantly, because it was never confidence. It was a costume, and costumes fall off the moment someone tugs at the seam. Here is the belief you need to bury before we go any further. Confidence is not a performance you can practice into permanence. It is not posture. It is not a script of pump-up lines you whisper in a bathroom stall before you walk into the room. If it needs an audience to survive, it was never yours to begin with. It was on loan, and loans get called in. Machiavelli wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved." Translate that for what you're about to learn. It is much safer to need nothing from a room than to need that room to like you. The moment you need to be liked, you have handed the room a leash. They don't have to pull it often. They only have to know it's there. Over the next 5 phases, I am going to build you a fortress. Not a mask, not a set of tricks. A structure so solid, it does not care whether the room claps or not. But I will warn you now, there is a price for this. And most people, when they see the price, decide they would rather keep begging. There is also one sentence, 4 words. The exact sentence the most secure people alive say to themselves in the precise moment everyone else collapses. I am going to give it to you, but right now, it would just sound like a platitude. By the end, it will sound like a verdict. Phase 1. The lie of borrowed confidence. Most people are not insecure. They are underfunded. They have spent years building a version of self-worth that runs entirely on donations. A compliment here, a like there, a nod from someone whose opinion they decided, without asking, mattered more than their own. And donations can stop, anytime, without warning. You know this person. You might be this person. The friend who posts a photo and refreshes the numbers every 4 minutes, like a farmer checking rain. The coworker who apologizes for an opinion before anyone has disagreed with it. The candidate who rehearsed a smile in the mirror all morning, walked in glowing, and the second the interviewer asked one hard question, the glow died. Not because the question was hard, because the glow was never real. It was borrowed light, and the moment it wasn't reflected back, there was nothing underneath. This is not about saving face. This is not about faking it till you make it. This is not about a better morning routine. This is about who owns the verdict on themselves and who has outsourced it. The actor needs applause to know the performance worked. The sovereign does not perform. The sovereign simply is, whether the room is watching or empty. You have spent your life training to be the actor, polished, agreeable, hungry for the room's reaction. Time equals, quote, 0.5 seconds, quote, slash, greater than. Here's what the broke never see. The room's reaction was never the prize. It was the trap. Every time you needed someone to confirm you were smart, capable, worth listening to, you handed them a vote on your own existence. And you did it so often you stopped noticing. You called it being humble. You called it being nice. It was neither. It was renting your self-worth from strangers who never agreed to be your landlord. Read this twice. The compliment you needed was never a gift. It was a bill. And you have been paying it your whole life without once checking the interest rate. Phase 2. The room that tests you. Every room you walk into runs a silent test. and almost no one has told you the rules. It is not a question anyone asks out loud. It is a pressure, a pause, a moment where the room waits to see what you do with the space you've been given. Most people fail this test one of two ways. They shrink or they over-explain. You have done both. The apology before anyone asked you to move. The extra 3 sentences justifying a decision no one questioned. The nervous laugh after a statement that needed no laugh at all. Every one of these is a signal, and rooms read signals faster than they read words. You think you are being polite. The room reads it as a price tag. Discount available. Negotiate freely. Here's the part they never teach you. The calmest person in the room is not the smartest, or the most qualified, or the best dressed. The calmest person is simply the one who stopped needing the room's verdict before they walked in. Watch a negotiator who knows their worth. Ask them a hard question, and they don't rush to fill the silence. They let it sit. The silence does the work. The one who panics to fill it just told the whole room who's actually in charge. This is the lion and the fox. The fox performs. It calculates every face in the room, adjusts its posture to be liked, spends its entire reserve of energy managing what people think. The lion does none of that. The lion does not care if the herd finds it agreeable. Fear moves around the lion, not because the lion asked for it, but because the lion never once asked permission to exist in the space it occupies. This is also the hunter and the herd. The herd survives by consensus, matching the group, never standing out, moving only when everyone else moves, because safety is the whole point. The hunter does not consult the herd before it decides where to walk. It was never voted on the herd's approval to begin with. You already know which one gets remembered and which one gets eaten. You have been the fox your whole life, and it is exhausting you. Every room recalibrated, every sentence pre-approved in your head before it left your mouth, every silence filled because silence felt like failure. It was never failure. It was the only honest thing you did all day. Before we go further, comment, "I stop needing the room," if you're done performing for people who never once returned the favor. I want to see who's actually serious about this and who's just watching. Phase 3, the cold freedom of not needing. Here is what nobody tells you about the people who seem untouchable. The ones who walk into a room and the temperature changes. It is not that they don't feel fear or doubt or the ache of wanting to be liked. It is that they stopped organizing their life around fixing that ache with other people's approval. They found something colder and far more reliable. Picture the version of you that doesn't need this meeting to go well, doesn't need this message to get a reply, doesn't need this room to laugh at the joke. That version of you isn't reckless. That version of you is simply free, in the rare way that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with the fact that your peace no longer has a landlord. This is not confidence as most people sell it, chest out, voice loud, taking up space for the sake of taking up space. This is not arrogance, which stays loud precisely because it's still hungry for the room's reaction. This is not a personality. This is architecture. A structure built once, in private, that does not collapse just because today the room went badly. This is what it actually looks like on an ordinary Tuesday. You send the message, and you do not reload your phone every 90 seconds waiting for the reply. You walk into the room, and you do not scan every face for approval before you speak. You say the honest thing, and if it lands badly, you let it land badly, because your worth was never riding on the landing. That is not indifference. That is what having a foundation actually feels like from the inside. Stay with me, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. The freedom of not needing costs you something. It costs you the easy comfort of being liked by everyone. Because the moment you stop performing for approval, some people will decide you got colder, harder, less fun. Let them think that. They were never paying your bills. They were never in the room when you built this. They only show up to comment on the fortress after it's finished, never to help lay a single brick. Phase 4, the mechanics of the fortress. So, how do you actually build this? Not the feeling of it, the mechanics. Because a fortress built on hope collapses at the first storm, and you have had enough of collapsing. Start here. The Stoics had a name for this, centuries before anyone called it confidence. Epictetus divided the world into two piles: what is up to you and what is not. Your reputation is not up to you. Other people control that, and you were a fool to ever think you could. Your composure is up to you. Your standards are up to you. Your verdict on your own day is up to you. The fortress is built entirely out of the second pile, and nothing from the first. This means you stop keeping score with the world's scoreboard and start keeping your own. Call it self-witnessing. At the end of each day, you ask yourself one brutal question. Did you act like the person you respect? Or did you perform for a room you won't even remember by tomorrow?
Not did they like me. Not did it go well. Did you hold your own standard when nobody was auditing you for it? This is the account that actually compounds. Every other one is borrowed and can be called in without notice. Machiavelli said something else that matters here. Fortune is the arbiter of half our actions, but she still leaves the other half, or thereabouts, to be governed by us. You cannot control whether the room goes well. You cannot control whether the deal falls through, whether the joke lands, whether the person you're trying to reach even replies. That is fortune's half, and spending your composure fighting for it is a losing war. But your reaction, your standard, your recovery, that is your half. Govern it like your life depends on it, because in the way that matters most, it does. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Most people spend their entire life managing the first half of that sentence and never once building the second. They perfect the appearance and leave the substance empty. So the moment someone gets close enough to experience what's actually there, they find nothing load-bearing. Don't be the empty half. Build the second half first and let the appearance take care of itself. And stillness. Stillness is not passivity. It is the most expensive thing you own. Because everyone in a room can feel when a person doesn't need to react. You have seen it. The one who takes the insult, the delay, the bad news, and simply doesn't flinch. Not because they didn't feel it, but because they decided long before that moment that their peace wasn't available for the taking. That is dominance, not the loud kind, the kind built from stillness, earned in private, long before anyone was in the room to witness it. Think of the parent who spent 40 years chasing a boss's approval, who shaped every decision around what the office thought, and retired with a watch, a handshake, and no idea what their own verdict on their own life would have even sounded like. That is the cost of building your fortress out of other people's opinions. It is not bankruptcy. It is worse. It is never having owned the currency to begin with. If you've made it this far, you already know which version of yourself you're closer to. Comment, "The fortress is mine," and subscribe. Not for me, for the version of you that stops asking permission, starting today. Phase 5. The kill of the approval seeker. Here is the sentence I promised you. 4 words. The exact sentence the most secure people alive say to themselves in the instant everyone else collapses. The instant of the awkward silence, the rejection, the room turning cold. Not, "It's going to be fine." Discriminate. Not, "They probably didn't mean it." 4 words, said flat, said cold, said like a verdict. I don't need this. Not because you don't want the meeting to go well, not because you don't care what happens to the relationship, the deal, the room. You do. But wanting something and needing it are not the same animal. And the moment you confuse them, you hand your composure to whoever controls the outcome. I don't need this means you will be fine on the other side of this going badly. That single sentence is the whole fortress compressed into 4 words, and it works because it's true. You built it, back in phase 4, brick by private brick, and now it holds weight whether the room approves or not. This is the highest stakes phase, because this isn't about one meeting or one room anymore. This is about what you leave behind. Picture 2 funerals. In the first, the room remembers someone agreeable, someone who never said the hard thing, never disappointed anyone, spent a life curating what people thought of them, and is now being quietly, politely forgotten, because agreeable doesn't leave a mark. The eulogy is kind and forgettable, 3 minutes long, and everyone is checking their phone by the second one. In the second, the room remembers the coworker nobody could quite push around. Not cruel, not cold for its own sake, just someone who never once asked the room for permission to exist as they were. People stand up, uninvited, to talk about them. The stories run long. That is the one people actually talk about, years later, unprompted. That is the one who was respected, not just liked. Which funeral is yours? You are building it right now, today, in the small moments nobody is grading. This is not a personality upgrade. This is not a confidence hack. This is not a mood you summon before a big meeting. This is a kill. The version of you that begs the room for permission has to die, and it has to die on purpose, because it will not die by accident. Nothing this comfortable ever ends itself. Here is who you become on the other side of this. Calm in rooms that used to eat you alive. Unreadable when someone tries to bait a reaction out of you. Quietly dangerous in the specific sense that you no longer need anything from anyone in order to feel steady. And people can feel that the second they meet you, even if they can't name what changed. They will ask what happened to you. Don't explain it. Explaining it is still asking for their approval of the change. You will notice it first in small rooms, the meeting where you used to over-explain, the family dinner where you used to shrink your own opinion to keep the peace, the group chat where you used to type 3 drafts of a message before sending the safest one. One day you will simply say the thing, once, plainly, and move on. No one will clap. That is how you will know it is real. There is a price, and I told you there would be. You will lose the comfort of being universally liked, because some people only liked the version of you that needed them. You will sit in silences that used to terrify you and let them sit there, uncomfortable, unfilled. You will disappoint people who were only ever comfortable with your smaller self, and you will have to be at peace with their discomfort instead of managing it for them. This is the tax. Pay it. The version of you that begs the room for permission has to die today. Not fade, not gradually improve. Die on purpose, in one decision you make the next time a room tries to test you and you don't flinch. There is more to this than what I can say publicly.
How the truly unshakable handle public failure, the kind that would end most people's confidence in a single afternoon, is a sharper conversation than what fits here. Maybe another time. For now, comment, "I don't need this," if you're done handing your composure to rooms that never once deserved it. I want to see who's actually building the fortress, and who's still just watching someone else build theirs. And, if this found you at the right moment, subscribe. Not as a favor to me, as the first brick.